Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Wednesday, the 7th day of May 2025. I hope you're all safe and healthy today. Hope your family is safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders, and those that pick up garbage to keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children that are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People that are also victims of pornography, child pornography, prostitution, child prostitution, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on all the perpetrators. Double curses on all the profiteers, and double curses on all the perverts that create the demands that cause these things to exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, military veterans, homeless in the United States. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. There's going to be a basketball game tonight. The New York Knicks will be playing the Boston Celtics in TD Garden in Boston today. Knicks up 1-0. I find a very interesting and somewhat troubling trend. So, right now, there are 8 teams left in the NBA playoffs. On Monday, the Knicks beat the Celtics in Boston, as we know. Also on Monday, the Nuggets beat the Thunder in Oklahoma City. Last night, the Pacers again beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland. And the Warriors beat the Timberwolves in Minnesota, so that all the visiting teams won. I don't know. Maybe it's coincidence, but I tell you, that would create a lot of ratings for the NBA. And so I am interested to see who the officials will be tonight, which we'll find out. It's before 8 o'clock. I'm doing this video in the morning, so you have to tell me later. Don't have to tell me. I'll find out. 9 o'clock, they put out the referees for the night, so I'll find out. But this is a troubling trend. It's interesting because I'm sure, for example, Cleveland was heavily favored against the Pacers in Cleveland. I am sure that obviously we know the Celtics were heavily favored against the Knicks in Boston, and the Thunder would have been heavily favored against the Nuggets. And so whoever bucked the odds and bet against, not that I believe in gambling, I don't, but it just seems so obvious. And it is obvious that in the NBA, they have gambling. And if we don't think that the gambling affects the outcome of games, we are deceiving ourselves, because there's a lot of money involved. And several players have already been investigated with respect to possible ties to gambling on games, including our own Precious Achua. So it's not a good thing. It has existed since there was sport. The 1919 World Series was fixed. So it's been existing since there was sport, but now that it's open, legal, and being heavily marketed, there's a lot of money involved, lots of money, billions of dollars. And so I'm a little concerned about that, but we can't control what we can't control. And that brings me to today's video. We can only control what we can control, right? We can't concern ourselves with things we have no control over. So many people do waste a lot of energy and life force being worried about things you have no control over. This is one of those things. So tonight, the Knicks are again playing the Celtics in Boston, as I mentioned. The Celtics are listing Kristaps Porzingis as probable. Again, he had the illness. I've tried to get as much information about this as I could. From my understanding, it's the same illness that kept him out of the lineup earlier this season. I don't know what it is. They don't disclose what exactly it is, but they list him as probable for tonight. So we got to assume he's going to play. Sam Hauser, though, is doubtful for tonight with an ankle injury. So we can expect KP to start, and we're going to have to game plan for him. Now, the thing is, Boston, a leopard cannot change his skin. Okay, the spots are there. What I mean by that is Boston has won most of their games this year from the 3-point line. They've been dynamic. They've probably been the best in the league at shooting from three. So it would not be something they're used to not rely on the three. Everybody made a big deal, very loudly, about them shooting 60 threes against the Knicks and missing 45 of them. I don't expect them to change that. I think they're going to try to shoot the three again. The adjustment is they will make some moves to try to get to the basket this time, as Jaylen Brown alluded to in the post game from Monday, that they should change up a little bit and try to get to the basket. And I think they will do that, but I think they're only going to be doing that to give themselves more open looks from three. This is what they've been doing all year. Anytime they get into the paint, they're looking to kick out. As Tom Thibodeau tells our guys to do, spray it out. And they have, as we know, dynamic shooters at all positions from the 3-point line. They don't have a weakness in terms of a weak shooter in their rotation. Everybody can shoot the rock. So that's what they're looking to do. So for the Knicks, the key thing is stay home with your man that's trying to get into the paint, and then let everybody else guard the 3-point line. The Celtics are excellent at moving the basketball quickly from one to another to get an open shot. They did that Monday, and they got open shots. They just missed them. So the Knicks got to really be on their game and guarding the 3-point line today. The Knicks played excellent defense Monday. Don't get it twisted. Some of these people act like it's just a matter of the Celtics missing. No, you don't shoot 25% from three as a team without some defense on you. Not in the NBA. So I'm not saying they didn't miss some good shots, but the Knicks played some hellified defense on Monday. So they got to continue to do that today. They got to guard the 3-point line. They got to protect the basketball. They have to really play on the string, and they have to get the offensive glass. They have to hit the offensive glass harder. Now, the adjustment, and I don't understand why there were still people bringing up the Hack-A-Mitch strategy and acting like this is some conundrum that's not solved. It was solved that very game. What was it solved by? Well, Precious Achiuwa. As soon as they started doing it, it's Precious Achiuwa. Also, please remember, they don't use Hack-A-Mitch unless they're in the bonus. It's not just that they're hacking Mitch just to hack him. If they're in the bonus, which means every foul they commit the Knicks are shooting, that's when Hack-A-Mitch comes, okay? So you will probably see Precious Achiuwa in the game once Boston gets in the bonus, okay? So if Mitch gets the ball on an offensive rebound, which he does often, and he goes back up, which he does often, and he gets fouled, that's not Hack-A-Mitch. That's just, basketball. And he's got to shoot the free throws. If it's a bonus situation, in other words, any foul by anybody is 2 shots because Boston is in a bonus. You take Mitch out and you put Precious in, okay, at that point. That way there's no Hack-A-Mitch strategy, okay? So that's probably what you'll see tonight. You'll see more Precious, especially in how much Precious is a direct function of how many minutes Boston is in the bonus situation. So that'll be the adjustment that Thibs already made that he'll probably make sooner today. Offensively, the Knicks need to do what they were doing, which is move the basketball. And as Thibs always says, let the game dictate what you do. You move the ball, whoever's open, take the shot. Okay, period. That's it. Whoever it is. Then there'll be plays where Brunson calls his own number. So he's going to Brunson comes down the floor, and he does this already. Either Mikal Bridges, Brunson, or Hart initiate the offense. And what they're doing is seeing what the defense is doing and what they're reacting to. So Brunson will see if they can get a switch on Al Horford, he will take advantage of that. The adjustment that Boston is going to make, they're going to double Brunson. Okay, so when Al Horford's alone with Brunson, you're going to see another player come at him. That's when Brunson has to hit the open man. So again, the game will tell him what to do. So when he has Al Horford on him, Horford cannot guard him, as we saw on Monday. Cannot guard him at all. So he wants that switch. And then he's going to have to give up the rock quickly, and somebody's going to have to make a move, with the ball. Either get it back to him or make a move in another direction. But that's the offense tonight. That's going to be how it works, because they can't guard Cat and they can't guard Brunson. They cannot. And they're a really good defensive team. But they're not unlike anybody else in the NBA that can't guard those two guys one-on-one. So you're going to want to they have two guards that are elite defenders. Both of them have been all NBA defense in Jrue Holiday and Derek White. So they have their Dyson Daniels, they have their Asar Thompson to put pressure on Brunson coming up the floor. Though neither of those guys really like to do that 94 feet like Daniels did and like Thompson did. But they're both physical defenders. But that don't bother Jalen Brunson. So that's a problem that Boston has. And they're going to have to figure out how to double him and the Knicks they're going to switch. They're going to have picks set until you get Brunson against Horford, Brunson against Porzingis, Brunson against one of those guys that cannot guard him, okay? And that's going to be the situation there. Then in the meantime, they're going to have to watch Cat, because that's the real outlet for Brunson. So if they get a switch and it's Porzingis against Brunson or it's Horford against Brunson, they're going to have somebody guarding Cat. And if Brunson can get Cat the ball in that scenario, or he can get it to somebody who does, and he gets the hockey assist to Cat, that's going to be problems for Boston. Okay, problems. On the defensive side of the ball, Boston's going to do the same thing as I mentioned. They're going to try to get in the paint, spray it out to an open shooter. They're going to try to get Tatum with mismatches. Tatum is really the only guy. Even Jaylen Brown, the Knicks can guard Jaylen Brown. The top defenders on the Knicks in order are OG, Mikal, then Hart, right? So you got OG, Mikal, and Hart as your top defenders. Any of those three guys can guard Jaylen Brown one-on-one. Any of them, okay? Even Cat can guard Jaylen Brown one-on-one. So they want Tatum, though, because none of those guys can guard Tatum one-on-one. In fact, there's very few people in the NBA that can guard Tatum one-on-one. So you want a mismatch with Tatum, just the way the Knicks want a mismatch with Brunson. They want a mismatch with Tatum. So what's going to happen is they're going to search out Brunson, as they did last game. They did it with Brown and they did it with Tatum. They want Brunson on them. That's their best opportunity to score. They're also going to have the Knicks going to have a secondary guy coming at Tatum to make him give up the rock. And then they got to quickly recover. That's the key thing today. The recovery speed has got to be quick. And again, this is what today's NBA, this is why length and quickness is important in the NBA today. 20, 30 years ago, it was bulk and strength. You had to be strong. You had to bang because it was a lot more physical defensively. It's still physical in the playoffs, but the key thing here is length and speed. Your ability to cover ground and get in front of a shooter. Okay? That's why Mitchell Robinson's so important. Precious does it. In fact, the whole rotation for the Knicks, with the exception of Brunson, does it excellent. Okay, all of them. So Cat too doesn't do it that well either. But he did good Monday. We need that again tonight. They got to recover quickly, get in front of the shooter when Tatum passes that ball. You got to have help. You cannot allow, and this is what they'll do. They did it Monday. Jaylen Brown or Jrue Holiday to have Brunson on the box because they're going to score every time. They're going to score every time. They're going to have somebody help out quickly down there, okay? The defense all year with Cat has been a defense that goes out high on the five when the five is out there. That was completely designed for one team, Boston, okay? It doesn't work well if you're trying to guard Jalen Duren or if you're trying to guard Paul Reed, because they're not going to shoot from out there. So you have no business going that high out because they're not going to shoot from out there. You could let them go out there and just wait for them. But the way Cat has been playing defense on that, which is frustrating against those other teams, it's going to work against KP because he's out there to shoot. He's not even out there to get near the ball. He's out there to shoot. That's what he's out there for. And to provide off-ball defense. He's a great off-ball shot blocker. So that's what he's out there for. So when KP is out there, you're going to see Cat drift out to that three-point line, which is what's going to leave the lane open, which is where Jaylen Brown or Jrue Holiday is going to take advantage, or even Tatum is going to take advantage. But Tatum will probably be the one that KP is setting the pick for, so that he can drift and get his three-point shot, or Tatum can do whatever he wants to do to create. So that's going to really, you got to watch Jrue Holiday and Brown on the backside under the basket. And again, that's Jalen Brunson that's got to do that. So because it's going to be tough, but we just did it Monday. So the Knicks, it's going to be back and forth. The thing is that even though there are two sides of the game, and there are, energy is used on both sides. So in other words, if you could make the Celtics work on defense, that will take away some of their energy offensively, and vice versa. Okay, so that's the game today. Thibs has prepared his guys with all of the minutes police whining. He has prepared them to be able to play 40 minutes, 50 minutes if they need to, and play high level on both sides of the ball. Deuce McBride seemed to have found his stroke Monday. If he still got it like that, coming off the bench, that's going to be huge, because in a game like this, in the playoffs, again, y'all know I've been stressing this, one game at a time, one possession at a time. Every possession in the playoffs is big. Everyone. So if you can get a guy to hit a shot, Deuce hit 3 threes on Monday. If you can get a guy to hit a shot off your bench, like Celtics have with Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard is very reliable. I think he's the highest scorer at one of the top three, at least as a sixth man in the league. Great shooter, Peyton Pritchard. I was wrong about him. Coming out of Oregon, I didn't like him because I thought he was going to be too slow for the league. I didn't think he can get his shot off. Boy, was I wrong. The boy could ball. And so he can get his shot off. He don't need a lot of room, and he's very accurate from distance. So that's where Deuce comes in. And he did a good job on him Monday. Did a great job on him. That got to continue. But if Deuce can start hitting that shot again like he did Monday, that's going to provide a huge boost for the Knicks. It opens up a lot, okay? So, rebounding, offensive rebounding, defense, doubling Tatum when he's got a mismatch, making him give up the rock and getting back quickly, covering your three-point line defensively, bringing in Precious when Boston gets in the bonus, and just eliminate that whole Hack-A-Mitch situation. And then, of course, letting the game offensively tell you what to do, and that's on Brunson. Letting the game tell you what to do. The game will show you. Cat, they cannot guard. So if Cat, that's another thing. Cat gets the ball in his spot. Like, they doubled him a lot Monday. That's why he only had 14 points. They really was focusing on him, and that allowed Brunson to do his thing. You can't guard both of them. That's the problem, see? So if Cat is getting one-on-one coverage and he's on from 3, it could be a good night. So we'll see what happens. This is going to be tough, though. The Knicks are already up 1-0, so the Knicks have the home court advantage going forward. If they win tonight, though, this is going to be an interesting series. You all enjoy the game. Be safe. Enjoy your day. Shalom.